Naka, you're most welcome. Sherry, you're most welcome. This is primary class, Yaaka Digital Learning Network. This is Teacher Ben, learning data at the same site, Yaaka Digital Learning Network, where you get all the materials, the content that thing. If you want to get a content for maths, you will still get in Yaaka. You want content for literacy, sorry for that. I had gone off because of my internet is a little bit disturbing. So I was telling you that you can access all the work in the site. It's a you speaking with our technical team that will direct you to all the work that we are going to be learning in Yaaka and also in this class. So this is Teacher Ben, as I said. Maybe to begin with, I would like to ask Nakachwa to say hi, then Sherry will follow. Nakachwa, can you say hi? I think she has just typed it in the site. Sherry, can you speak? Say hi.
Hi, Teacher Ben.
Hi. Yeah, so today we are going to look at a very interesting, that is sanitation. It's not a new topic because in primary 1 and also in primary 2, we looked at sanitation in primary 2. So it is not something very, very new. It is not something very, very new. So in P3, we also learn sanitation. In P4 again, we shall look at sanitation. Then again in primary 6, we shall still look at sanitation. But before we move any further, I would love to share my screen so that we shall be moving in the same pace. I'll be asking you some questions, and then you shall be in position to give the answers correctly. As simple as that. So I want to share my screen, and then we shall move on. Then the other thing is, at least you must have at least a book and a pen where you can be noting down what we shall be learning today here. Then later you can speak to your parent, at least to give you access so that you can read this work at home alone. Then when we meet, you can just ask questions. You can ask your teacher. Teacher Ben is available here. There are also other teachers that you can ask questions on some areas where you're not clear. So just as I said, today we shall be looking at sanitation. So what is sanitation? If you want to speak, you have to raise up your hand. What is sanitation? I see other people have joined us. There is Manuela has joined us. You're most welcome. What is sanitation? Anybody with an idea can raise their hand. What is sanitation? I see Manuela's hand up. What is sanitation?
Sanitation is the general cleanliness of our environment.
Very good. Sanitation is the general cleanliness of our environment. Another person, You may be having a different view, but the same answer. Manuela said, sanitation is the general cleanness of our environment. Another person can also give the correct answer using different words. Yes, Sherry?
Sanitation is the way we keep the environment clean.
Is the way we keep the environment clean. And the answer is correct. As simple as that. Maybe Nakacho also has something to say. If there is something, you can actually tell us what you have. Nakacho, if there is something, you can actually tell us something. So I want now Nakacho to read for us this, what I have put down. What is sanitation? Nakacho? This is what our friends have just said. They said that sanitation is a general cleanness of a place where we live. A place where we live is our environment. So when you're giving the meaning of the word sanitation, so you either use a place where we live, use environment. So for me, I decided to use we live because spell the word environment. So sanitation is the general cleanness of our environment. As simple as that. So you can give the meaning of the word sanitation in different ways. So let's move on. We also need to look at the importance of sanitation. Importance of sanitation. We need to look at the importance of sanitation. Why is sanitation good? Why should you keep sanitation in your place? Because most of us do that at home. Most of us keep sanitation in different ways at home. We at school. We keep sanitation in any place where we live. Why should we keep sanitation? Why should we keep sanitation? I see somebody's hand up already. Sherry's hand is up, but allow me to recognize Patrick Chiimba is with us. You're most welcome. We are discussing the importance of sanitation. We already gave the definition of sanitation. We said sanitation is the general cleanness of our environment. Now we are talking about the importance of sanitation. It's unfortunate that someone is off. Sherry, you can tell us any importance, any reason why we should keep sanitation in our environment. Or anybody with an idea, you just raise up your hand. I like the way you do it. You're doing it very, very well. Importance of sanitation. Importance of sanitation. Importance of sanitation. Now I will be asking one by one to read this. Importance of sanitation. Let me have Sherry to read for us that first point.
It reduces the spread of germs.
Good. It reduces the spread of germs. That's why when we are at school, they tell us you must be able to mop your classroom, sweep the compound, remove the rubbish in the compound, burn rubbish, and so on and so on. Why we do that is to reduce the spread of germs, because germs cause diseases and we don't need diseases. So for us to avoid diseases, to prevent diseases, is by just maintaining sanitation to reduce the spread of germs. As simple as that. So let's move on to the next person. Who can read for us this? Let me have Nakacha say something. Yes, Nakacha. Uh, Nakacha has some echo that is coming, which is bringing noise. The echo.
It promotes
Yes.
public. It promotes public health.
Good. It promotes public health. Someone can ask that, what is public health? What is public health? Public health is just, it is the same as sanitation. It is the same as saying it promotes the general cleanness, or it promotes the general cleanness of the place. When the place is clean, then the place can be healthy. Public health is when people in that place are free from diseases. People in that place are free from diseases. That is what we call public health. And you can only get public health by promoting sanitation, by cleaning the environment, sweeping the compound, mopping houses, everything in regards to the general cleanness of our environment. It promotes public health. Because when you maintain your environment clean, it means that the flies will not come in. And if the vectors are not there, it means that there will be public health. There will be public health. People in that place will not be having diseases. As simple as that. So this is what we are talking about. It promotes public health. So let's move on to the next reason, or rather importance of this sanitation. Let me have Manuela to read for us this one.
Little money is spent on treating people.
Good. Little money is spent on treating people because people will not be sick. So there will be no money wasted on treating people. Self-explanatory. As simple as that. So let's move on to this one. I want someone to read for us this. I see someone with just HJ. If you can speak, I don't know if that is your short form of your name, HJ. At least say something, because I don't want to leave anyone without speaking anything. At least read for us the other point. If you cannot, then I can pass it to Sherry. Can you read for us that one?
People live longer.
Good. People live longer because people are not sick. So if people are not sick, then they are able to live longer. As simple as that. People live longer. So let's move on to another. This one I want to Nakacha to try to read again, but it seems she has some problem with her connection. There is some problem with the connection maybe, but I want her to try to read that one. Yes, Nakacha?
Vectors are controlled. Vectors are controlled.
Good. Vectors are controlled. So when you promote sanitation, if you clean your environment very well, it means vectors are controlled. Maybe we need to know what vectors are. Someone might be there not knowing what vectors are. But we are also going to look at vectors when we continue with our lessons in primary 3. We shall look at vectors with time. We shall look at vectors, we shall look at germs, and all those things. We shall look at diseases. So we shall look at everything related to that. But before we reach that time, maybe we can hint something on vectors. What are vectors? Because it's not good for you to speak and say that vectors are controlled when you don't know what vectors are. So what are vectors? I want someone to tell us what vectors are. If you can raise up your hand, it would be easy for me to choose someone who can tell us what vectors are. What are vectors? Or the word is new because we just introduced it in I think primary 3, and then we shall continue learning vectors in primary 4. Seriously, we shall learn it in primary 4, and that will be next year. So I see Nakacha, please. Also, Manuela's hand is up, but let's start with Nakacha. Yes, what are vectors?
Vectors are small, tiny things that cause diseases.
You've given an answer, but there's some problem somewhere. So I will tell you where the problem was. Let me hear from Manuela. There is just a slight error somewhere. Let me hear from Manuela.
Vectors are tiny organisms cause diseases.
Tiny organisms that cause diseases, right? So Manuela and Nakacho have given the same answer. I don't know whether Sherry has the same answer, but these two have given the same answer. All of them have said that vectors are tiny organisms, tiny living organisms that cause diseases. But surprisingly, vectors do not cause diseases. They don't. It is the germs that cause diseases. Vectors just spread diseases. So when you're defining that word, vectors, you have to be very keen. Be very, very keen. Be very, very keen. Vectors are small living organisms that spread diseases. When we are marking exams or even exercises, the marking point is spread. The marking point is spread. For the case of the word vectors, every child that will write the word spread, automatically we shall give the answer. Spread what? Spread germs. So you will simply say vectors are living organisms that spread germs. If you want to continue, you can continue from there. That spread germs which cause diseases, if you want to continue. But even though you end there and say vectors are living organisms, that spread germs. Full stop. We don't need you to strain yourself to continue. Even PLOE, when we are marking PLOE, it is the same thing. We just consider the marking point. Then for the case of germs, in the next lesson, we shall be looking at germs. I think next week, we shall be looking at, we shall still be handling sanitation, but we shall have opportunity to talk about germs. So we shall give the right definition of germs. That one, if they ask you, still you will say germs are tiny living organisms that cause diseases. So the marking point there is tiny and it cause diseases because germs cause diseases, but vectors do spread diseases, like a housefly. A housefly is a vector. It spreads germs. It spreads germs, and then the germ causes a disease. Like a housefly spreads different germs and also causes you'll find out that people get different diseases. Trachoma for the eyes, you get diarrhea, you have dysentery, and many other diseases, cholera, typhoid. So this is what these vectors can do, but we shall discuss that with time. So these are the importance of sanitation, of maintaining sanitation in the environment. These are the ones. So those are the ones. We need to move on to the ways of promoting proper sanitation. How can you promote proper sanitation in your environment? How can you promote your sanitation in your environment? But when we are examining you, when we are giving setting examination, we can either ask you to give the importance of maybe ways of maintaining sanitation in a market. We can also say, give the ways of maintaining sanitation at home. Give the ways of maintaining sanitation in the hospital. Give the ways of maintaining sanitation in the hotel and also at school. So these ways do not change. The very way you promote sanitation at home can be the same way you promote sanitation at school. So these are the ways. So let's take a look at them. So this is the heading, ways of promoting sanitation just this one I've not specified because there are so many places where you can promote sanitation. So I want us to discuss this, ways of promoting sanitation. How can we promote sanitation? I need us to discuss this, and it is by show of hands so that I can know who has an idea, that I can ask you, how can you promote sanitation? How? In any place. Yes, Nakacha?
By mopping the house.
By mopping the house. Good. I see Nakacha's hand up. The person who spoke is, I think, different. Oh, okay. Manuela, how can you promote sanitation? Nakacha said is by mopping the house, which is very correct. By mopping the house. Another person. How else? Sherry?
By sweeping the compound.
Very good. By sweeping the compound. Correct? Another person? Another person, I see still Nakacha.
By sweeping the house.
By sweeping the house, good. That's good. Another person, you can sweep the compound, sweep the house, mop the house. All those are different ways, and we mark them very correct. Another person. There are very many ways how you can promote sanitation. And I'm very happy that I'm dealing with a very bright class that is able to answer questions. My only request is for you to get access to the work. This work is in the site. It's just a matter of you get the link to the work. Our technical team can give you the link. It is just www.yaaka.cc. You can get that work. Even though you need for senior 6, from P1 up to senior 6, you can get that work. So if you need to, of course, it is in different packages. You can get, if you want to be meeting teachers, you can still have that package, and you will be meeting different teachers. Every time you need them, you can meet them. So let's continue with our ways of promoting sanitation in the environment. It's good that we have already mentioned some of these ways. The other one is cleaning latrines or toilets. You can clean latrines or toilets in different ways. You can clean them by scrubbing. You can also smoke the latrines and so many other ways. The other one is, I want to share it, can read for us this one, this point.
Proper disposal of the rubbish.
Good. Proper disposal of the rubbish. That is very correct. You don't just throw the rubbish anyhow. You have to take that rubbish to the rubbish pit. That's good. Let's hear from Nakacho. Is going to read for us this one.
Slashing around our houses.
Slashing around our homes. That is very correct. Now, it is the same as saying slashing around or slashing our compounds. It's the same. It is the same. In primary 4, we shall learn more and more why we need to be slashing our compounds. So Manuela is going to read for us the point.
Draining away stagnant water.
Come again.
Draining away stagnant water.
Good. Draining away stagnant water. You find that maybe at home there is a place where water always collects after it has rained. When water collects there, don't leave that water to stay there. Because if you leave that water to stay there, the mosquitoes will come and lay there their eggs. So the eggs will hatch from there into different, very many mosquitoes that will destroy, will keep biting people and transmitting, spreading germs, which will cause malaria, elephantiasis, yellow fever, dengue fever, and the different vectors will also come there and still lay their eggs there. So the reason why we are supposed to drain away stagnant water is just to prevent, to remove the breeding places for vectors. In primary 4, we shall look at this. We shall look at this in details. So draining stagnant water is removing that water which collects. Every time you have to remove, if it collects there, remove it so that the mosquitoes will have nowhere to lay their eggs and the other vectors. So let's move on. Another person can read for us this point. It's good that you said that one already, and it is self-explanatory. So would you like to read for us that one? Yes, Sherry.
Sweeping our compound.
Sweeping our compound, as simple as that. So we need to continue sweeping our compounds as one of the ways of promoting proper sanitation, as simple as that. Then the other one is building plate stands. All of us at home, we have these plate stands. It can be in different ways. You may have a metallic one, another person can have a wooden one like that, and another one can have the plastic plate stand, the plastic one. And these plastics, mostly we have them in the house, and also even wooden, you can still have it in the house. But for us in our village, we have the drying racks that we just make using wood. We put outside there. After washing our plates, we put them there. As simple as that. So building plate stands, as simple as that. Then the other one is fencing water sources. You have to make sure that you fence your water sources to prevent, to promote proper sanitation. When you fence your water sources, you prevent rubbish to be dumped. And also you prevent animals from going in the water source to urinate and defecate. there. So that is the reason why you need to fence your water sources. So these are the ways of promoting proper sanitation. You can simply say by cleaning latrines, by proper disposal of rubbish, by slashing around our homes, by draining away stagnant water, by by sweeping our compound, building plate stands, and the other is fencing water sources. So that is what you need to know. So that is it. And I think the last part that we shall be talking about is a very simple one. We shall be looking at the things used to keep proper sanitation. Which materials, which items can we use to maintain, to clean our latrines? Which items do we use for slashing, draining stagnant water, sweeping, and doing all this? Which items? So these are the things that we shall be talking about. So let's have a look at them. And I expect you to give these things used to keep proper sanitation. This is the last part of our lesson, and then we shall call it a day for today. So things used to keep proper sanitation. Things used to keep proper sanitation. Who could be having an answer? Things used to keep proper sanitation. By show of hands. Yes, Nakacha.
Broom.
Good. We have the broom. Another person. Yes, Sherry.
Rag.
Good. Of course, you can simply say mopping rag. You can say mopping rag. Mopping rag. Manuela?
Slasher.
Good. We also have the slasher, which we use for slashing. You can still mention more. Priska, if you have another answer, can still tell us one other thing.
Rack.
We have the rack, correct? Another person, Sherry. And then Nancha. If there is nothing else, we can look at these that I listed down. There are very many. One of them is the brooms, which we use for sweeping. We also have soap, which we use for washing. We also have water. We can use it in different ways for washing, for mopping, for scrubbing, and so on. We have hash or ash. We have the ash. This one, you can use it for cleaning your latrines mostly. You can use it for cleaning the latrines. Most of us, maybe being in town, we might be using the toilets, but in the village, people smoke their latrines to clean them, and sometimes people use ash to clean their latrines. So all these are materials that people use, or items or things that people use to promote, to keep proper sanitation. Then the other one is dustbin. The other one is dustbin, where we put in the rubbish. We have this one. Manuela, can you read for us that one?
Hose.
Hose, we know its use. Yes, Sherry, can you tell us the use of the hose?
It is used for digging.
It is used for digging and also for weeding around the compound. Weeding around the compound. Let's move on. We have Priska. Can you read for us this one?
Rex.
We have Rex. These ones we use Rex for collecting rubbish. Collecting rubbish in the compound. Yes, Manuela?
Brushes.
We have brushes. So these ones you can say scrubbing brushes, which we call the hard brush. Usually we call it the hard brush, hard brushes. So those ones we use them for scrubbing the latrines and also other places like toilets. And even if you're mopping the floor, maybe you want to scrub something. The walkways, there are some places which have well cemented walkways. You can use the brushes or the hard brushes. Let's move on. We have the wheelbarrows, as simple as that. The wheelbarrows, we know we use them for carrying rubbish to the rubbish pit. As simple. So these ones are very many. We also have the spade and so many others. So these are the things or other items that we use to keep proper sanitation. So in our examination, we shall ask you, sometimes we can say, draw any 4 items or mention any 2 items. Even though we have not used the word things, we can still just use the word item. Mention any 2 items used to keep proper sanitation. So you can mention any of these items. You can talk about the brooms, the soap, ash, dustbins, and so many others, as simple as that. So for today, basically, this is where we shall end. Next week, we shall still be having our lessons. We will be continuing. And I really want to encourage each one of you to endeavor to attend. I have loved the class and I want to thank you so much. Sherry, thank you very much for the active participation and the attending. I really wish to continue with you. Nakachwa Priska, the same thing. Thank you very much for attending. We have Manuela. Thank you so much for attending and for the good participation. I really wish you the best, and I wish if you could get access to this work so that we can easily be moving so fast. We have very many units in primary 3 that we shall wish to finish up, and then we move on to the next class. These days, there is nothing that we can do because of COVID and everything. We need to embrace new changes. These days, we are supposed to move on from the other system. So let's move on. I really want to thank you so much for attending this engagement, unless there is a question. But before we close, I want to, for those who joined us late, like Nakacha, we started from sanitation, and we said that sanitation is the general cleanness of our environment. And then we went on and talked about the importance of sanitation. I think you got us there. And then we also discussed the ways of promoting sanitation and then the things now used to keep proper sanitation. And we have come to the end of this. So if there is anybody with a question, the floor is open. You raise up your hand and then you ask. If there is anyone. And if there is no one, then I will have to wish you a good day. Sherry, do you have any question?
No, teacher.
Okay, that's good. Then Priska?
No, teacher. Ben.
Thank you. And then Manuela?
No, teacher.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for attending. I wish you a good day.